No.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook. I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Oh, we are live. We are live, and I'm coming back at you with 5. Welcome to another exciting edition, only edition of Random Topic Sundays, the hottest live stream here in the cosmos of social media. You're watching via Rumble, our new station on Rumble, ladies and gentlemen. I have the direct link for us right here that you can go and watch this. We're trying to get more people on Rumble because, as our brother TD Hip Hop says, the goal is not to stay on YouTube, but to move away from YouTube. So I'm actually going to put that link in the comment section. Oh man, good tonight. I'm still recovering from a very, very long week. As you all know, I wasn't in. We did a show this past Thursday, of course. A live stream I did with the three brothers, Sean James, attorney. I had brother attorney Andrew Jones who stopped by, and of course Harvey Superboy. So we had those three on, and we were talking about Harvey Weinstein's conviction. We're going to talk a little bit more about the fallout from that conviction being overturned, and also what happened earlier over this weekend with the NBA playoffs. So I'm going to go segue into those things a little bit. Of course, to pay some dues, I gotta put this announcement out. If you are watching via X, ladies and gentlemen, we are now available to take tips. That's right. My account is monetized to the point where I can get tips. So if you're watching on X right now, you want to support a brother, you go ahead and donate something on X. As you know, YouTube has us on shadow ban, and social media we're banned in general, and we of course are not monetized. So anything you want to contribute, anything you love to give, is well appreciated. So we always state that. Shout out to my people. I know we got people in the chat, people that are here. And I'm gonna turn this off right now because we're about to get in some business. Yeah, I like the music though. So, man, it has been a very hectic week for me. I didn't know if I was gonna make it. You know, they got a lot going on in New Orleans and the city right now. Family, we have the NBA playoffs. Of course, the Pelicans are not doing good. Uh, we had Charles Barkley ass talking about us. You know, the Pelican, they ain't even going fishing. They're going right to Galveston and get that brown water. Yeah, he said that shit on on national TV. It's an embarrassing. The Pelicans have been awful this playoffs. Now, I didn't expect them. They're playing the number one seed, Oklahoma City Thunder, and I didn't expect them to actually. I guess I could talk about Stephen A. Smith since I'm talking Pelicans. I didn't expect them to actually win. I would have been shocked based off the fact they came in as the eighth seed and Zion Williamson is hurt. But I expect win. They lost by two. The second game they got blown out over 30 points. And this last game was over 25. So they've not been a very good team. But I didn't expect them to obviously be as atrocious as they've played. And so you got that. You got Jazz Fest. What's up, DeAndre? You also had the Zurich Classic, which is the golf classic that's going on. Just everything you can think of. We had French Quarter Festival last week or the week before last. So there's a lot that's just happened in the city. This is tourist time. And you got Essence Fest coming up in July, that first week of July. So man, we've just been going through August. So yeah, so he was talking about. I'll just play it for y'all. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but
up on the shore. You people think they're in the beach. Y'all okay? Y'all y'all gonna send y'all to Cancun. Y'all drive y'all quit. Drive your ass down to Galveston.
Drive your ass down,
Come on, man.
So they're taking a little.
Come on, they need to try, man. We're not getting no place to go to the beach. We send their ass to Galveston, Texas, right where that dirty water washed up on the beach. They can't even get in the water. Come on, man.
Oklahoma City, 185 in game three. It's 3-0. You saw Allie LaForce waiting for an interview post game.
Chuckster, I think that was inappropriate. Yeah, they go right to Galveston. So yeah, the Pelicans been getting their ass whipped. Y'all don't mind. I'm not gonna come on the screen. I got people asking me to come on. No, I'm not coming on today because I'm not in my studio. So I'm just gonna do this from here. If you don't mind. But yeah, I'm excited because we actually are on uh X. So I mean, I've noticed, and say what you want about Elon Musk, but I've noticed before it was Twitter, I was not getting the amount of views and imprints that I had before Elon Musk. So say what you want about him. I've actually noticed my channel, my platform on X. I've gotten more followers. We're gonna get some more followers. Make sure you're going to the Twitter page. If you are, I get more people watching now. I've noticed on X than on YouTube. More people are going there. Make sure you're hitting that like button so we can up the algorithm. Make sure also you go to Amazon Kindle and purchase The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Kindle right now. Andrew purchased it, and I'm gonna and just go to YouTube, just go to Amazon right now, download it from your phone. It is big, but it's easier to watch these stuff on to actually watch it and get it online. Uh, it's worth it. You know, Judge Joe Brown has praised it. Uh, Bill Cosby has praised it. Everybody has praised the book. Uh, it's well worth it, well written, over 2 years. There's a lot of references and research. And I'm going to get back to that. But since I was on the NBA, let's talk about this. I'll just start. Punk ass, cool ass Stephen Head Smith. I don't know if you've been following. So the NBA playoffs, like I said, are going on. Those Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks have been battling it out. I think the series right now, if I'm not mistaken, is 2-1, or I think it's 2-1 or something like that. And a couple of days ago, the Clippers, well, actually, I think it was yesterday. No, Friday. The series is 2-2. Clippers lost to the Dallas Mavericks. It was the fourth quarter, and Russell Westbrook committed a technical foul. Now, it happens in the NBA. I don't want to play it because the NBA is going to put up a copyright strike if you play their games or anything like that. But you can go look at it. It was a clear technical foul. It's dirty. And look, in the playoffs, it does happen. It happens even in the regular season. So it's not uncommon. And it was wrong as wrong can be. But Stephen A. Smith took it a step further that I haven't seen before. So Stephen A. Smith actually was on ABC, ESPN, comes on, and ABC are all tied in. They work for the same company. They're all under the same umbrella. And ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, I think this was at after the game, after Dallas won, he had this to say. So I want y'all to listen. Now, this is Gilly. I think it's just Gilbert Arenas who's doing this. The voice is funny, but y'all just listen. Y'all just listen very This is Gilly. So y'all just listen very carefully to what he's talking about. So this happened in Game 3. Listen to what Stephen Head Smith had to say. So hold on. The audio this is funny too. What he's gonna say.
Then you push him in the chest. Then you go after PJ, and then after that, listen to this shit. And then you're shrugging off the referee. I felt so serious about this, fellas. I called the league office, and I said I need an explanation. Tell me why Russell Westbrook. Why would you call the league office? You don't work for the NBA. Every indication in writing that they provided said we handled this. He got a couple of tests. So you trying to get niggas he was ejected, suspended for a game? You don't work for the league, nigga. You work for ESPN. Fuck you calling the league for? Steve, I fuck with you, but that's some Rizzy shit, Steve. And because of how important it is, you starting to look like a little Rizzy, man. Don't fucking do that. So, but you called up the league office to find out why he ain't get suspended. Let them people do their fucking job. Fuck you doing their job for them for. And none of y'all ain't say shit. That you said. I got the Dallas.
Really sound like he hang out at the corner.
What? Oh, Kendrick, you out of fucking pocket. He called the league office up. None of you niggas don't work for the NBA. Fuck y'all calling the league up for. You talking? I agree.
Man, why Gilbert sound like he hang out at the corner store asking for some change so he can buy some wings, bro? Damn. So a lot of people, people have clapped back at Stephen A. Smith for that. And he's defended him. Stephen A. Smith, of course, we know he's the company man that they go to on ESPN so he could please his boss. And he defended this. He said, I said it, and I damn sure mean it, because of his play on Friday. Knowing the league office would normally suspend anyone for this, I called to ask why this was different. They explained, and I get it. For those tripping that I call the leave office, it's my damn job, all of us. Now, it is not his. I'm not an analyst, and I do know as a reporter, yes, it's not uncommon when they have these press conferences, they'll ask questions there about that, especially with the playoffs going on. I'm sure they don't do them now while they go on, but the league, I have seen where the commissioners, if there's a big event, something that happens, they'll break and they'll actually do a press conference, but they won't usually do those types of press conference with the commissioner, like Adam Silver's the commissioner, right then while the playoffs are going on. But Stephen A. Smith is a fanboy too of the Knicks, so that's another thing people have complained about. But Stephen A. Smith, this doesn't surprise me. It is Rizzy behavior, as what Brother Gilly was saying. Shout out to him. But Stephen A. Smith has always been putting it down for Master and putting it down for his bosses at ESPN. Remember, he said his job, when he did it at an interview a few months back last year, he said, my job is to make as much money for my employers and how I could get a piece of it. So that's what Stephen A. Smith is. But Russell Westbrook didn't get suspended. He still played today. And likely what's going to happen, he's going to get a fine and some costs. Now, he put his hands on an official and shoved him away. But, and he almost filed, he did file another player, but they handled it the way that they wanted. And for him to get involved the way he did and then defend it shouldn't come as a surprise to many of us. This is a guy that's gone on criticizing a lot of black men like Kwame Brown and others, calling him a bust. They went at a bunch of people. I don't know, these analysts. See, here's my thing. When you're an analyst, I look at people who actually have played the game. I respect that aspect of it. I don't respect people who, as much as you're a fanboy. That's why I think I could do great. Now, honestly, I could do great on like ESPN or Fox Sports, but I'm gonna be too real. I'm gonna just say, man, what somebody mess up? I was like, oh, this stupid ass fool. I'm not gonna hold back. I'm not holding back my tongue with stuff. Like how they missed that call, how they did this. Like I will call stuff how I see it. But am I a columnist? Am I someone who's actually played the game, an analysis? I don't think I'm the best one. I can consider myself as good as I am at watching sports and analyzing stuff. I don't think I'm in a position like a person who's actually spent 10, 12 years on the court or on the field to comment. I'm just playing armchair quarterback. But you know what? Hey, they do that stuff. They make money from it. That's what's going on here. That's what. Look at Skip Bayless. And Skip Bayless was doing fine until he couldn't keep his damn mouth shut. They're actually talking about his show Undisputed. Ever since Shannon Sharp has left, they've suffered low ratings. They're actually can't even get 100,000 people to watch the show since Shannon Sharp has left. So a lot of people are starting to realize how bad Skip Bayless was. But anyway, yeah, I've ESPN. Yeah, if he's a fanboy, see, analysts also, when you start cheering on other players and teams are going against teams like he does, that's another problem. See, you can't be biased supposedly in your reporting. News journalists are supposed to be neutral, like a judge is supposed to be neutral. Stephen A. Smith's not neutral by any means. He apparently loves the attention. He loves to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I don't like him either, but you know, yeah. But that's the stuff. So yeah, Bob Raceman wrote an article saying Stephen A. Smith hurts ESPN's credibility for by cheerleading for the Knicks. Well, they do that. Yeah, but that was foul. He was dry snitching on Russell Westbrook like that. But and you know what? Maybe the league to address why Russell Westbrook wasn't disciplined or suspended. Russell Westbrook is, to my knowledge, he's never had a problem. I've never heard of Russell Westbrook having a problem with the league, with drugs, with behavior wise, anything like that. I know he may complain a lot, maybe not like LeBron, but I've never known him to have a problem or cause anything. Cause any trouble. No history. And that might be another reason they looked at it. He's never had any trouble in his. Russell has been in the league for, I want to say, about 14, 15 years, probably a little bit longer than that. And there's never been a problem with him. So I think they probably cut him a break. One of the greatest, a great point guard, guy that could put up numbers. Oh, yeah, 15 years ago. Never had a problem. MVP 2017, 9 All-Stars, 2 NBA All-Star Game MVPs. Yeah. So anyway, I'm talking too much time on that. But yeah, I just thought that was foul with Stephen A. Smith. So I heard that I was talking. I thought it was funny with Gilly. So let's get into our main topic for today. Make sure y'all go to Rumble too. I've hit the live stream for link I've put in the chat for everybody to go to Rumble to hear me, hear my voice. You can leave a comment there. So we're talking about the fallout over the Harvey Weinstein conviction being overturned. Now, after we got off the air on Thursday, it was reported on Friday that Harvey Weinstein was headed back to Rikers Island and actually was transported to a state hospital following his conviction being overturned. So they ran a battery of tests on Weinstein after his return to New York City following an appeals court ruling nullifying his 2020 rape conviction. Attorney Arthur Idala said Weinstein was moved to Bellevue Hospital in Manhattan after his arrival on Friday to city jails. So they examined him. A spokesperson for the New York City Department of Corrections said that Weinstein remains in custody in Bellevue, and Thomas Maley, a spokesperson for the State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, said Weinstein was turned over to the city's Department of Corrections pursuant to the appeals ruling. I mean, I was going through the battle of my life where I was facing 30 years. I'd be walking around with a fucking cane. I'd be walking around with everything. The hunchback, the hunchback of Massapequa right here. Harvey Weinstein. So yeah, this was an article from the NPR. So we know that his conviction was overturned. We went over that. And there was people who were upset about it. Of course, there were those that were comparing it with the, as I showed you the article, they were comparing it with the Bill Cosby situation, why it was overturned. And the main thing I wanted to talk about though is that actually we noticed that the backlash and the commentary on Weinstein is not as big as what happened 3 years ago when Dr. Cosby's conviction was overturned back in 2021. And I had called it out and said that the conviction was going to be overturned because I knew that Dr. Cosby did not get a fair trial at his criminal proceeding back in 2018 and that he was wrongfully imprisoned. And that, as it related to Weinstein, of course, Weinstein, the stuff that they allowed as far as the testimony to be allowed in the courtroom, the tipping of the scale, if you will, by allowing prior bad act accusers was what got him his conviction to be overturned. And with Dr. Cosby, of course, that was another argument that was raised. But we got to remember in the appellate court, the Supreme Court did not determine or didn't get a chance to comment on the prior bad act accusers because they wanted to look at whether or not, first and foremost, Cosby should have been prosecuted from the beginning, which they stated he should not have been. And that was because of a prosecutorial agreement between his lawyers and the prosecutor at that time, Bruce Castor. But nevertheless, uh, many people felt Cosby got away with it. Now, I'm going to show you something here. I got to be careful, but I'm going to show you the difference in backlash. Now, this is from TMZ's website. Now, I don't want to play any video from TMZ or anything like that. Of course, uh, this is also part of the fallout too, because and I don't think it was a coincidence. They upheld R. Kelly's conviction in in the Northern District in Illinois. Jennifer Bogine actually, who represents all three of these men, she represents Harvey Weinstein in his California appeals case. She also represents R. Kelly, who is fighting. And they're stating they upheld his sentencing. And she also, of course, was the reason why Bill Cosby his conviction was overturned. Now, when you go here, and I typed in the keyword for Harvey Weinstein, I'm just showing you all. So when you look at Harvey Weinstein news and so forth, I'm trying to see, of course, I don't want to play any audio, but I just went to YouTube and I did not see anywhere or anything from Harvey Levin regarding the case being overturned. Now, maybe there's some audio, but I didn't see anything in video. And I looked on YouTube to find it. There was nothing here. Uh, they talk, of course, they have it here on their headlines that the conviction was overturned and got unfair shake at trial. But when it came to Dr. Cosby, Harvey Levin, who is the creator of TMZ, by the way, if you don't know what TMZ means, it means 30 mile zone. And where that came from, TMZ, that term, 30 mile zone, uh, John Lovitz, the comedian John Lovitz, broke it down because he doesn't like Harvey Levin. But he explained 30 mile zone was in Hollywood. The 30 mile zone was the studio zone, and it was defined by the radius of Hollywood because uh, It's centered around, it's guarded as the southeast corner of Beverly Boulevard and La Cienega Boulevard in Los Angeles. And the boundaries of the 30-mile zone radius included urbanized half of Los Angeles County. So, what that meant was when the adult, when the movie stars, the actors were in that area or anything like that, the Hollywood executives controlled a large part of that area. So anything they did, that by having boundaries, they kept it within the 30-mile zone, anything that happened. So that's what that was about. That's where that term came from. And I want to play a video as it relates to Bill Cosby and Harvey Levin, and I want you to notice the tone. Now, of course, I can't compare it. If I put up other videos, there's obviously a difference. Harvey Levin is not there, but I want you to listen very carefully to how Harvey Levin described what happened. And this is a lawyer, by the way, but Levin is the same one who's gone on this OJ did it thing, along with many other his white counterparts like Bill Maher and Geraldo Rivera. But I want you to listen to this. So they're talking about this. The media, and I'm going to even show you something. So he was on Fox 11 in Los Angeles in 2021. Fair use, by the way. So they're talking about the case being overturned. And I want you to listen carefully. Now, the comment section, they seem to get it more than what the commentators are talking about. So hold on. I want you to listen.
Foremost, let's get your reaction when you saw this cross the wire, as we say in the business. What was your reaction?
Well, it was pretty shocking. Not so much that the court threw out the conviction, but they said that he could not be retried ever again. But there is something to understand about this that I think is really important, because a lot of people are talking about this like it's a technicality. It's not. It's not a technicality. So look, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did not say Bill Cosby is innocent. Everybody needs to kind of hear that. They didn't look at the evidence and say, we don't believe he did what he was found guilty of. They didn't say that at all. What they are dealing with are two issues. The big one is due process. What happened was Andrea Constant, who was the victim in this case, sued Bill Cosby, and she wanted to take his deposition. He was going to invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and not testify in the deposition. The DA at the time, Bruce Castor, went to Bill Cosby and his lawyers and said, look, this needs to get resolved. Sit for the deposition, and we won't prosecute you. So if we don't prosecute you, when we give you our word, we're not going to prosecute you. You don't have to worry about your right against self-incrimination. You need to testify. He not only sat for one deposition, he sat for four. And there were times when he wouldn't answer, and Constant's lawyer went into court and said, force him to, because he's made this deal and there's no self-incrimination. So all of that happened. Bill Cosby said incriminating things in the deposition. And then the next DA said, I'm not going to honor this deal. I'm going to prosecute him. And that's the core of this. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania said, look, you made a deal. You can't, as a prosecutor, entice somebody into saying things that incriminate them where they don't exercise their Fifth Amendment constitutional right and then go back on your word. And that's why the court said, not only are we going to throw out the conviction, but you can't prosecute him again because of the deal you made.
So based off of what you're saying, does it sound like even if you think Bill Cosby is guilty, even if you think he's a terrible person, legally, what they did was right? Is that what you think?
Well, what I'm saying is they're saying that there is a fundamental due process issue here. And essentially, they got him to waive his Fifth Amendment right, which he could have exercised by saying, we won't prosecute you. And they have to live by that deal and honor it. And that's what they're saying.
But Harvey, my question is, it's 2021. We've gone through this. We're talking about something that happened, 2005, I think this was. So why now?
Well, because he went to prison. And once you get convicted, they raised this issue during trial and the judge rejected it. And so now they have gone through an appeal process, and it eventually reached the Pennsylvania. These things take time, and it reached the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and it was a divided court. They didn't all agree to this, but the majority did. And ultimately they came down with their decision today.
All right. So when you think about Bill Cosby back in the day, he was one of the biggest stars in America, America's dad. You think the Jell-O pudding and the sweaters and the dancing and the whole thing. And now you look at him walking around saying nothing. Where does he go from here? What did you make of the fact that he didn't say anything? Is there any way to repair his reputation? I mean, there are clearly some fans of him still out there. What do you make of where Cosby goes now?
I mean, he's 83 years old. He's almost blind. And I don't see Bill Cosby, coming out. Although, I don't know. I mean, Bill Cosby actually did, come out during the trial even, and he was, fighting. So I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, I don't think he has a career in Hollywood, but I'm not sure he wants a career in Hollywood. So, I mean, I don't know what he's going to do. I really have no idea. But I really want to underscore something, that this was not a court that said, we are not believing Andrea Constant or anybody else. What they're saying is, that all those things aside, there is a legal issue, a fundamental legal issue involving due process where prosecutors made a deal. And that angers a lot of people now. But he wouldn't have testified in the deposition if he invoked the Fifth. And if he invoked the Fifth and never said those things, it's unclear whether they would have been able to prosecute him. So look, ultimately, everybody kind of heard what happened in the trial. People have formed their opinion. This is not going to change anybody's opinion about whether Bill Cosby did it or not, because the testimony is the testimony. This becomes a constitutional issue of due process. And that is really the sole issue before that court.
And of course, there's still the civil suit against him. And as far as I understand, that he has to speak. He cannot exercise the Fifth Amendment.
Well, I will say that in any civil lawsuit now involving anything for which he was prosecuted, and now that he can't be prosecuted again, he can't invoke a Fifth Amendment right because the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has said that there's no jeopardy there. There's no ability to prosecute him for this. Now, I will throw a wild card at you. And I don't know this, but I am not so certain that Bill Cosby is not actually going to go in the offensive here and file a wrongful imprisonment lawsuit against the authorities in that county and in Pennsylvania. I wouldn't count that out. I would not count that out.
Okay, so you heard what Harvey Levin had to say. Now, Harvey Levin, I got to say this. So I was incorrect. I'm a man that when I'm wrong, I'll say this. I was incorrect. I thought he was actually going to say something along the lines that this was a technicality. But what Harvey Levin failed to mention, he is correct. That is what the Supreme Court decided. They did decide that they were not going to hear the facts of the case, but to see what the egregious error was. And they stated, based off the agreement that the prosecutors had with Bill Cosby, he should not have been prosecuted for this crime. But they didn't determine his guilt or innocence or that the women were credible. But here's the problem, Harvey. When a conviction is overturned, and this is the point that everybody should know, especially those that are trained in law, if you are trained in law, is that once a conviction is overturned, that person's presumption of innocence is restored. If they are granted a right to a new trial, if they are granted a right to, if they're granted a right to have if their conviction is overturned and they're guaranteed a right to a new trial, then it is treated as if it had never happened. The district attorney of Pennsylvania at that time did not believe that Bill Cosby, at that time, that's Bruce Castor, that there was enough evidence to convict Bill Cosby. So he decided that the only way Andrea Constand could get some type of justice would be a lawsuit, which is why he made that agreement with his lawyers. The lawyers brought this up at the trial. The lawyers brought all of this stuff up at the trial. The judge ignored it. The judge didn't care. But my point with this is that when you watch this, you don't see Harvey Levin. I don't see any videos of Harvey Levin on here. Now, of course, you see Geraldo, you see Fox News, but you go in and look up Harvey Weinstein. Let's just say this. You don't see the same backlash. The LADA said he believes that the charges would still stick. We don't know that. But his attorney, Harvey Weinstein's attorney, spoke. So let's listen to this.
Joining us now is a man who knows Harvey Weinstein quite well, his attorney, Arthur Aidala. Mr. Aidala, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Just immediately off the top, your reaction to the court overturning this?
Well, to be quite candid, I was pleasantly surprised, but surprise would be the first word. Look, we all know that in society, when something is so hyped up, it takes on a life of its own. And that's kind of what happened here at the trial. But nobody really thought that the Harvey Weinstein verdict was going to get reversed. So I was surprised today when that happened. Then I spoke to Mr. Weinstein, and he called me and told me that someone had walked into the facility where he was at and just handed him a piece of paper with the very initial news reports that just said Weinstein verdict reversed. And he called me and he could not have been more gracious. He said thank you more times than I could imagine. He was like slightly emotional, but I think he was overwhelmed. I think he was almost in a state of shock as well. We'd been given misinformation that the decision wasn't coming out until May. As far as I know, we're still in April. So there was that part of it. But Lindsay, what really made me happy for the criminal justice system, really in America, which is really being challenged right now, is that Harvey Weinstein was the poster child for a international movement, and that caused the trial judge to really throw out the rule books that we're all entitled to under the United States Constitution.
The New York Court of Appeals gave a scathing opinion. How common is that to see that kind of rebuke of a trial lawyer, of a trial judge?
That's right. It's the trial judge. It's not that common. I mean, the rulings in this case were literally rulings no one had ever seen before. Had they been seen before, the prosecution would have cited them. Well, Judge, what this judge here did was not so unique because they did it in this case and that case. It had never been done before. Basically, Harvey Weinstein was charged with assaulting 3 women. The judge allowed an additional 4 women to testify. So instead of our legal team confronting 3 women, we confronted 7 women. And that's something that's unheard of. And basically the judge said, oh, the jury needed that to help them understand. And the court said, no. All that was doing was bolstering. Those 4 women were just bolstering the testimony of the other 3. It was basically just showing Harvey's a bad guy. And we can't convict people on rumors because that's all they were. They were never charges. Those people never brought criminal charges against Harvey Weinstein. They just came there and they had an axe to grind. And many of them got a check out of it as well.
But what about MO? If you're trying to prove, look, this person has a routine pattern of behavior, and that's why this is admissible to hear from these other witnesses.
Correct. But that was not the case here. That's typically when identification is an issue. Harvey Weinstein never said he wasn't fooling around with these women. He just said, I didn't force them to do anything. I mean, he always proclaimed his innocence. Not that you got the wrong guy, which is when MO would come into play. He just said, yes, we had relations, but there were no complaints. And some of these complaints came up 10 years later or even more. So MO comes in under certain situations. But in this situation, the judges ruled, even because now it's a retrial. It's not like they threw out his case. We got to go back and start from the beginning. But the judge says there's no reason to have any of this Molyneux, any of these extra witnesses come in to testify.
Arthur Aidala, big day for you and your client, Harvey Weinstein. We so appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So, I can't find Harvey Levin talking about Harvey Weinstein. No, I can't find it. Somebody got the video, show it. I can't find it. He talked about OJ. He talked about Bill. They talked about Michael. No, they've been quiet. So when you look here, so I'm going to go to CBS News. Now, they did have the accusers, I believe, on here. Now, Ashley Judd and Jody Cantor. Ashley Judd, I don't think was a witness in this case. She came forward with allegations of sexual harassment against Weinstein, but I don't believe she testified. So I want y'all to listen to this. Fair use.
Lawyers for women who testified against Harvey Weinstein say they are outraged that New York's highest court has thrown out his 2020 conviction for sexual assault. The Court of Appeals ruled 4-3 yesterday that alleged victims.
That's emotions talking. Now, notice they use the words alleged victims. Harvey Levin didn't use the word victim with Andrea Constand. They don't say that.
Who weren't involved in the charges against the disgraced Hollywood producer should not have been allowed to testify. Weinstein's attorney said yesterday, we knew Harvey Weinstein did not get a fair trial. There are some people who are unpopular in society, but we still have to apply the law fairly. Now, Weinstein will continue to serve a 16-year sentence after a separate case in California. But joining us now are Ashley Judd, who's the first actor to come forward with allegations of sexual harassment against Weinstein, and New York Times investigative reporter Jody Cantor, who's reporting on Weinstein, helped launch the Me Too movement. Good morning to you, ladies. Good morning. I know this is a tough day for you, Ashley. Take me through the emotions when you heard this news yesterday, the court overturning and throwing out this conviction.
I was planning our summer vacation to Yellowstone National Park, and Jody called me. She said, pick up right now. And what I want to note is that male sexual violence is such a thief. First, they rape us, and then they steal our time. Because I was having a great morning, and now I have to invest in talking about how not only is Harvey Weinstein still guilty, but we have institutional betrayal, which is a real thing. You know, the majority ruling of 4-3 was a slim one, but we continue to have to deal with.
What the hell are you saying? See, look. This is emotions again talking. This is not about facts, evidence. You listen to what she said. She says, she talks about betrayal from the system. Male violence. Listen to what she said. I was planning my vacation in Yellowstone. When Jody told him, pick up the phone. What the hell are you? And you wonder why men don't date today. And look, I'm not trying to be rude to women who have been sexually assaulted. That's not the point of this, but you say you felt betrayed. Due process applies to everyone. That's the point of this. You try to be sympathetic with them, I get it. But This is not, the courtroom is not a place. And just look at the CBS Morning comments. It's not a place for feelings and it's not a place to hold conferences and to make political points. It's about justice. What are the facts of the case? What is the evidence in the case? That's what we look for. So hold on.
With the aftershocks of male sexual violence. You know, I should be writing my op-ed with Secretary Becerra about how we just launched our first ever national suicide prevention strategy and doing all kinds of other things with my time instead of continuing to cope with a serial sexual rapist.
Harvey Weinstein continues to deny the allegations. But Jody, you say this case, though, was fragile from the start. Why is that?
So think of it this way. If you took all of the women who have terrible stories about Harvey Weinstein, they could fill a courtroom of their own, women like Ashley. However, most of those women, like Ashley, were not eligible to stand at the center of a New York criminal trial. The acts didn't take place here in New York. They took place too long ago. A lot of it was sexual harassment, as you experienced, and not the kind of criminal violent acts that can land you in jail. So prosecutors were left with only 2 women at the center of the New York case. Both of them admitted to having had consensual sex with Weinstein, which juries will sometimes reject. They'll say it's too blurry, it's too complicated. So to bolster their case, prosecutors brought in additional witnesses, women who had experienced terrible things at the hands of Weinstein, gave searing testimony, but it was controversial legally because the classic rule of criminal court, of course, is that the evidence should only pertain to the acts that are under scrutiny in court. And so when Weinstein was convicted, it seemed like a triumph for Me Too because he was convicted with a chorus of women's voices, but that also became the avenue for his appeal.
So when people hear this, and I was blindsided by it, I can't imagine people who invested their time, who went public with things they never wanted to revisit again, how they're feeling about it, and they're frustrated, they're angry. Should they be angry with the prosecutor? Did the judge make a mistake? I mean, how did this come to pass?
You go ahead. I think that we should take a look both at Harvey Weinstein's serial predation, and not all men are rapists.
These are not lawyers, by the way. These are actors and actresses. These are writers. They're not lawyers. They're not trained in any legalese.
But most men are silent about other men's sexual violence. And so first we have to take a look at the acts of violence and the systems that enable it. And women have higher rates of post-traumatic stress disorder in America than veterans do. This is just the water that we swim in. So I think we have to look at the whole pattern. And then we have to look at our institutions and strive toward institutional courage so that this doesn't happen anymore. And that's a real thing, and people can read about it. It lives at Stanford University. So that's where I want to focus my attention.
Actually, one of the things that I think is going to be on a lot of people's minds, Alvin Bragg has said he intends to bring this case back to court. But for those victims who have to relive and go back into a courtroom and face that scrutiny and face that questioning, explain that to us.
Courtrooms are not healing spaces. They're traumatizing spaces. And victims should not have to perform their trauma in order to find peace. You know, what will give us satisfaction and peace is when men stop raping women, period. And the idea of resurrecting all of that is just such a tall ask.
Jody, in retrospect, you say this first case in New York was fragile. That was very clear. I now understand why. This one in LA that's now on appeal, what does your reporting tell you what could happen there?
That is the one to watch. So Weinstein's lawyers are about to file that appeal next month. They are going to make some of the same arguments that were successful in New York. The California rules on allowing those kinds of witnesses are a little clearer, so that case may hold up. But I should tell you, the attorney that Weinstein is using is the same one who was able to get Bill Cosby's conviction thrown out.
Interesting. Yeah, we did get a statement from the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. And as you said, they say, unlike New York law, California law permits the admissibility of propensity evidence in sexual assault cases subject to the judge's discretion. So in this case, they can look at all of this and use more of those victim statements then. What do you think that overall this conviction being overturned yesterday does to the Me Too movement, which you so reported on for so long?
I know that there's a tendency to score Me Too like a basketball game and to say Governor Cuomo resigns, it's a point for the women, and Harvey Weinstein has his conviction overturned, it's a point away from the women. But that is not actually the right way to look at this history. First of all, there was a fierce fight among the judges on this appeal panel. 7 judges, 4 of them women, in heated debate about the right thing to do. The dissents in this case are stinging. You can feel the frustration from these judges rising off the page. They call the majority clueless and out of touch and naive. And this decision in the end was made by 1 vote. So
4-3, yeah.
1 vote. So I think what I would say is it is a sign of the health of the legal system that there is this debate about the most realistic and powerful way to try sexual crimes.
And I just go back to Ashley. Thank goodness for women like you who came forward from the start. And you spoke out, you spoke your truth, but yet you have to continue to fight this fight. What are your final thoughts?
You know, Me Too is not a moment. It is a movement. And as Tarana Burke said yesterday, the bad news is that there are many survivors of sexual violence. And the good news is
Tarana Burke. That's why I look. Tarana Burke said, it's not my job to go after white men. So black men are the only ones that commit sexual assault. I'm not saying that black men don't. I'm going to stop the video there. This is what we got to deal with on a daily basis. Like I said, look, speak your truth. I don't know what happened. I'm not there. I think what you could be saying is 100% true. Yeah, if anything, what I've learned and what they're talking about, if you noticed in the first part of that video, most of what they said, Ashley couldn't testify. The woman even said it. It was sexual harassment. Yeah, it wasn't sexual violence. You can't just press charges on someone. I'm not saying it's right, but my point is that someone that tried to kiss you or something like that, as what Weinstein was accused of, you have to listen very carefully. How does that result if he sexually harassed you, offered you a role in a movie, unless you gave up the booty? You can't put someone in jail for that. You can probably sue them for sexual harassment. There are laws that are against that, but that couldn't fit, and they could not have her testify in court. Now, California, I'm not quite familiar with California law, but I do know they have been. California, of course, is more liberal. New York is a very liberal state as well, but California is like that is the tipping point of liberalism. And so their laws are a lot more clear, and they allow a lot of stuff. That's why they have these look back windows that they've passed where it doesn't matter if it was 40 years ago, 50 years ago, if someone says something happened to them and they remember it within the statute in that time frame, you can go back and sue them. Now, I think sue the accused. Now, I think it's problematic because how do you enforce that? And how do we know whether it was true or not? There are statutorial limits. We have those things in place to protect us, especially under our Sixth Amendment right to impartial and speedy trial, right to a fair trial, right to confront witnesses, to have witnesses testify on your behalf, and it can be problematic. But in all things, a person is presumed innocent until proven guilty, no matter how significant the charges are. It could be petty theft, it could be terrorism, what you're accused of. It is up to the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But what say you, fam? Do you notice they're a little more calmer? There's no backlash like they did with Cosby. These women are not going off. Yeah, we saw Ashley Judd. I don't see the same reaction from many in the media like they're doing with Cosby. But what you think? This wasn't going to be a long live stream. I've kept it under an hour. I said I was going to do that. Make sure you drop something in the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. Ladies and gentlemen, if you love me for my time, pay me for my time. We are moving this channel, this platform forward. Shout out to everyone watching via X that's been and on Rumble that are watching this. We're grateful for that. Also, we got people from YouTube, my family on YouTube. Yeah, thank y'all. So hold on, y'all. I see something on X. Shout out to brother Eddie Griffin. I'm just randomly looking at stuff here. I'm gonna have to come on X more often and do some blog talks with everybody. I think we're gonna have to do that more. Make sure you're on X. And actually, yeah, hold on. I'm gonna put the link to my profile here. If you go on X, yes, I have tips on here, so you can actually tip me if you would like. You can give me something there. If you want to tell people about it, join the X world. Yeah. So tomorrow starts a new week, ladies and gentlemen. New work week. It's going by fast. We already headed in a month of May, guys. So the end of the year is coming up. I'm actually planning in the summer to shoot a comedy special, a 30-minute special that I want to do in July, August. So I'm looking for a place to shoot at, but it's going to be a great one.
So yeah, y'all be safe and be blessed. We're gonna get up out of here in a second. Looks like the Black Authority is about to come on. I actually was trying to get on before he did. But yeah, I wanted to do this live stream with you all. So shout out to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to my man Clay Stevenson. Make sure y'all hit the X. Go to X right now. Go to Twitter. Make sure you get the book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Kindle. Buy some Creole seasoning blends. Support. And make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. All right. I'm going to get up out of here, y'all, in a second. So it's good to comment with y'all. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace.